Welcome to the Intermediate Skills Visual Summary, where I take you for a ride and show you from a first-person perspective of my point of view on the trail. In all the trails I'm about to show you, I'm essentially going to be touching on all the main things we talked about in the intermediate section and giving you key takeaway points for bunny hops, manuals, jumps, drops, corners, wood features, and how to approach steep and technical terrain. All right, let's kick things off with a bunny hop. I'm about to bunny hop over a log on this trail and I don't have a lot of momentum. So the trick here is to really push down on the front end, get some preload going on, and then pop up as I do that weight transfer, where I pull up, lean back, and then transfer my weight forward. And I just got over that log like a breeze, no problem. All right, the next thing up is manuals. On this road, I was trying to pop manuals, but I didn't have as much speed as I wanted. The more speed you have and the more momentum you're carrying, the easier it is to keep a manual going for a longer distance. It's the same starting motion as a bunny hop, where you really want to pull up and pop and get your weight on that back wheel. Okay, this next trail is Dirt Merchant and Whistler. This is a trail full of drops and jumps, and it's the perfect example of all the things we talked about in jumping basics, in terms of lifting those legs to nose in, not just using your arms, and really just feeling out the takeoff, letting yourself follow with the jump, and just feeling out the jump and judging it slowly, not doing too quick of movements. These are bigger jumps, so they're slower movements, but they don't look huge on a GoPro, and it's the perfect example for an intermediate rider since it kind of slows things down a little bit. On all these jumps, you can see I'm tweaking and styling things out to keep my balance, and this is an advanced skill you'll learn over time, but it also helps me stay balanced and stay comfortable in the air funny enough. And on a lot of these jumps, you can tell they're not overly steep. They're basically a supersized version of what we went over in Jump Basics in terms of the dimensions. Another cool thing about this trail is the jumps change in size. They go from long to short, and you constantly have to be pumping or speed checking and really adjusting your speed accordingly for them. That's one of the really cool things about a trail like this. You always kind of have to be on it. Coming around these next two corners here, we do have a pretty big drop. Here we come off the drop. As you can see, I'm kind of just opening myself up, stretching out, and allowing myself to nose in nice and smooth. Coming around the corner, there's a steeper, harder jump that is definitely very advanced, and you have to turn 90 degrees in the air. So to prepare for this, I'm 100% committed. Remember, this is important no matter what level of skill you're at with your jumping. You have to be 100% committed to what you're about to do, or it's not going to go over well. Okay, we have another drop here, and what's unique about this drop is it requires you to land and immediately try to generate speed the second you land. Remember, drops are kind of like an extension of a manual without pulling up so hard. You're just starting that motion. On a drop like this, I'm starting that motion very subtly so I can start opening up my arms right away, lifting those legs in the air a bit like you would on a jump. In this case, it's like that because this is a slightly bigger drop, and I'm really trying to land both wheels at the same time so I can land, start preloading, and get ready to pull up on the next big jump. The next big jump coming up here is a step up, so I'm keeping that front end nice and high the whole way through. Coming towards the end of the trail here, we do have quite a few long, fast corners that you can really sweep through, and it doesn't really matter which way you enter. But as we talked about earlier, entering high and exiting low and really turning your body the direction you want to go is really key when it comes to cornering. And in the next trail here, we're going to really focus on that skill. These corners are really tight, really fast. One leads into the other. It's boom, 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 you gotta go. In this scenario, you want to make sure you're entering high, exiting low, steering your torso the direction you want to go, allowing the inside of your body to really push into the ground as you're railing in those turns. So you're generating speed, you're pushing your weight into the ground to gain traction, speed, flow, all the works. Where you look is where you're going to go to. So as I'm entering some of these corners before the straight sections, I am looking ahead at the straight sections nice and far in advance because I really want to be prepared for it and set up nicely. And I just love this trail. The end of it is so fun. It's pretty straight on, and it comes into one tight turn at the very end up here. Bombing through all the mud. Here we go. So there you got a speed check. Notice how I came nice and high, so I have lots of room to turn out of it. Same thing for this last kind of corner. I ride up it high and come out of it on the full on inside. Okay, this last trail here, or this next trail should I say, is full of skinny bridges, wood features. Notice how I come at them with speed and commitment, and I'm looking far ahead, trying to stay straight, not pedal too much. It's kind of impossible not to pedal in sections like this where I gotta like get on the brakes and turn and shift that body weight. I'm using that swinging technique I talked about to really get around some of those tight corners, and there's a little drop at the end. Okay, this last trail really gives you a good insight on how to approach steep and technical terrain. I'm coming into this big rock face up here and I'm coming onto it very outside, the same way I would hit a corner, enter high, exit low, because that hits me up nice and straight for the next little section here. And then I'm coming around, I'm looking far ahead, I'm nice and aggressive, weight back on the seat, and I'm standing up, but when I say weight back on the seat, I mean I'm standing up and getting like the seat above my chest a little bit, so I can handle that steeper terrain and get through it nice and smooth. And at the very end of the section, it gets into steep corners, which is that same leaning back technique, but then the same cornering technique I've talked about where you come high and you exit low. All right, and that's the end of this trail and this visual summary. If this all feels comfortable for you, then I think you might be ready for the advanced skills.